Good afternoon, viewers and subscribers. Thank you for tuning in. Today I'm just going to share my opinion regarding the Kensington Primary School situation. Of course, we are all aware of that situation, whereby this young lady, because of her locks, this 5-year-old, she was banned from school. Looking at the whole situation, I was trying to figure out who was really wrong. Who is to be blamed? It is really the school that should be blamed. Is it the principal? Is it the administration at that school? Based on what I have observed, I don't see it like that, whereby a person is coming out and bashing the teachers, the principal, and the team. And let me get into my reason why I say that. If you look at the constitution, if there is a constitution that give the teacher that right, you remember, the principal has rights, the school have rights, the child have rights, and the parents have rights. So it's not like the situation is the parent have rights and the child have rights, but the principal don't have any rights. So always look at the situation based on what I've seen going on overall as a society and how I see people behave. I would have to more bash the principal. And this is my reason. The problem of the situation, I would say the root is within the constitution. Because people, if you look into the situation, you will realize that the court could not back the teacher if she was not in her constitutional rights to do so. So I'm going to touch all the topics, because before I clear up that part of it, I wanted to know my stand with the situation overall, right? So do I think that is right or wrong? No, that's discrimination. However, what I'm trying to say now, I'll get back more into that discrimination part of it, but what I'm trying to say now, and I hope that you can see through to what I'm saying and don't be biased, just listen, try to understand what I'm saying now. So the court could not rule against the principal once she could back up her statement with regards to the constitution, right? So going and bashing the principal, that's the wrong thing to do. That's how most of us would look at it. You bash the teacher and maybe victimize the teacher or the principals. But are the principal is to be blamed? Or is it a fault in the constitution? So I want to clear this up. The court could not back the teacher if it was not in the constitutional rights of the teacher to do so. So people, I wanted to understand that's how the court work. I'm not a lawyer, but the court work with facts and rules and regulations. So in the constitution, we're using a constitution from 1965 in the education system. Now with that constitution, the teachers, the principals, they are given that okay to set the rules, right? So they will set the rules, what they believe is right. Now, that's why you have some schools, they will not have a problem with how some students bring themselves. There no issue will come out of it. While there are some schools have an issue. And that's because each principal, they are given the right to set the rules according to what they see is fit. Once they are not discriminating and so forth. But the constitutional, it never points out exactly everything. So my take is that the constitution is the problem, not the principle. And why I'd say not the principle is because it is proven if people are given the chance to do what they want to do, they would discriminate against you just because you are not saying what they are saying. You're not seeing eye to eye. So people in general, they will discriminate against you and they will put certain rules in place to match their idea. So that is the reason why I'm saying that. And I could use many other situations. So as I was saying, people, it is proven that if people get a chance to do what they want to do, it is natural that they will discriminate against you. So it is not a surprise to me if a principal discriminate against a child, because if it is in their power, they will go ahead and do it. And I can back up my reasoning with a lot of examples in society. I have a particular situation with even person that lock their ear are telling me to cut my hair, right? And not once. So what I'm trying to show you is that individual, once they have the power, they will go ahead, they naturally discriminate. Yes, we have it in us. We have racism in us, classism. It's the same thing. It's the same mentality creates all of that. So some of the things that we are fighting against, we are really hit. But what I'm saying now, what I'm going to say to you, because of that, what we need to do now is that this constitution has to be revised at least every 4 years. Because of course culture has changed, our culture is changing. So we have to try to prevent discrimination. Alright? So of course, when those rules are being constitution is going to be reformed, we need Rastas, normal citizen, black, white, Indian and Chinese, because that is how we can develop a system that would judge us fairly. Because if you don't have a system, that's what the system do, that's what the constitution do. It should not partial, it should be just fair. So even though persons try to misuse power and rules, the constitution should not give them that opportunity to do so. And yes, what I said is just to show you that every individual, they discriminate no matter which race they come from. So most persons, if you're not saying what they're saying, they'll do what they want. Alright, so the constitution to me is the major issue. And if we are not educated, if the individual who are out there are not educated enough to know this constitution, they need to do that. So a situation like this don't happen where it has to be the last point for you to realize that there's a change need to be done. You don't want everything to reach the last point, then that's when we realize we want to be educated. The constitution is the only thing we can use in this system to hold everybody accountable. So it is the constitution, people, and you have to just try and understand how the system works. Nothing is wrong with the system. It's the people who are in the system, and we have to know how to hold everybody accountable, including ourselves. So of course, in terms of wealth creation, it's the same thing. Once you understand how to be wealthy in the system without being illegal, you can teach everyone and everyone will learn to be wealthy. But anyways, let us get back to what I was saying. In the school system, some persons think that the school system allows tight pants. It is not so. Normal citizens out there, it's not so. The school has one of the greatest challenge to get students to stick to rules. They just throw their garbage on the ground, and that's what the biggest stress for teachers. Getting them to even wear the right uniform is an issue. But the schools really try to keep up with those rules, try to deal with the situation without getting students kicked out. They try. And when even some of those parents are contacted, those parents cannot control those students, so there's stress at school for the teachers. Not to mention, as I said, the dirtiness of the class. Even in the classroom, not to speak is one of the biggest challenges for teachers. Not that the teacher cannot manage them, it's just that the students cannot manage themselves. So people have a tendency to just do what they want, and if you allow them, they'll do anything and anything. Alright, now let's get to the cultural part of things now. Yes, there should be no discrimination based on ear in the school system. So in terms of ear, there should be no discrimination. So in terms of culture, we know our culture in Jamaica, right? And while I say this, bear in mind I support rules. So you cannot form a society without rules. You cannot say you're educated without rules. You have to have guidelines. So bear in mind when I speak about that, there are still rules that should be considered. Now, Rastafarian and locks of ear is a part of our culture. So as I said, if the constitution was revised on a timely basis, then that should be incorporated and outlined too. That lock should be accepted. No child should be out of school, even if that child have a lock. So the constitution need to point these out in detail. Let them know that Rastafarianism and lock is a part of our culture and there should be no discrimination. No rule should go around that. Alright? So I support multiculturalism. So of course, if you have Chinese coming to our school, you will follow some of their rules as well. Indian, black. So if we go to another country, the same thing. That's what I like to see. They accept us. Alright, so I promote multiculturalism, and because it is more civilized. Multiculturalism is a civilized way to look at things. Just as if you don't have racism, it's more civilized not to have racism. Alright? Such as classism. Of course you don't want classism as well. So you get rid of discrimination, racism, classism is a more civilized society, more equal rights society where we are producing. So for me, that's what I'd like to see. that Rastafarian be accepted, locks be accepted in all schools, but you cannot give the principals the authority to make that rule. That has to be made from the government body that is responsible, not the schools, because you want to make sure that everybody is judged equally. Yeah, that's my insight. So remember people, what I'm saying here. Constitution is a problem. Don't go and victimize a teacher or a principal. Each one of us at times have this discrimination, and I can show you we are even killing our own people. We are not a better race or a better country when it comes down to living together. And this is not colonialism. It is us now doing this. It's the situation now. We are doing this to our own people, and we need to look at that. We need to just look into ourselves and know that while these issues need to be fixed, where discrimination is, we need to look in where certain infrastructure is also fixed, like our water. Before I was born, when I was a child, there are certain communities that still put jump on. They were putting jump ons on the roadside to catch water, and they're still doing that even now. So there are a lot more issues to be sorted out, and it can only be done through what the Constitution and saying rules, as well as through accountability, right? So we have those issues. We have criminality to also be fixed. Crime rate over 1,000 per year. That is drastic. Are we really loving one another? Those are important issues that we as an individual, I'm not talking about government, we the people need to know what are at stake, what are the constitution, what are our rights, how can we be a better society. It starts with the homes, the individuals in the homes. So remember, before anybody goes into politics or reaching the government body, they were normal citizens before. So if the normal citizen level was a fair game, those in politics would tend to develop that from a younger stage, and it would be easier. And this last point that I'm going to share with you can help you to see through what I'm saying is that education, once we learn where we get our education from, then it will make us better able to solve our issues, our social issues, and other socio-economical issues. Now, learning takes place from history. Somebody learn from all actions that you see happening, from a child right through up until you're adult. Alright, so that is why if you're going to make changes, they normally give you some time, because those persons, if they're in a society where they promote crime, they see people getting away with crime, they will learn it. It's something that is learned. It's not a man that started overnight. Corruption in every era is learned. Rastafarianism, it has a history, a bitter history in the country, and I think some of that history, some of those ideologies held on to even up to these days in some of those persons, because people learn from history. So in 1963, when you go back and visit some of the history, it shows that Rasta started their movement. They have their own beliefs. So they were even locked up by the government. Yes, they were locked up, and glass bottle used to shave their hair and all those injustice, and that weren't right, because as a system you should protect. So the system should protect. The system shouldn't go and discriminate against people. It should be fair. So that wasn't right. But coming up from there, we see that they are acceptable. They are part of our history. They are part of our culture. They have their own belief. They have a right to their own culture. So we should not discriminate. And they should know they are part of the system. They are part of our history. And they are doing a lot of good jobs. They have a lot of good things. Their diet, their music, and they are doing well. Alright, so they are not nuisance to society. They are actually a part of our culture, and I think their history should be taught in schools as well. As part of our history, we should teach that in our schools as well. That's what I really believe. It's a part of us. It's Jamaica. They are Jamaicans, alright? It's a part of our culture as well. So, as I was saying, learning, it takes place from history. It takes place from everything that goes on. So that is very important. Once we understand that as a society, we can solve any social issue. So if all the children on the street, so it's not only school learning will take place, it takes place at home. So if there's no corruption in the home, if children were taught in the home and the society and in the school, we would have a better future if we know how to hold everybody responsible, right? Even if it's your own. we would have a better future. If that is not done, we'll not have a better future. Anyways, people, what I'm leaving with you is that if we can make the necessary changes from the constitution, then we can have a better future once we hold each person who is to be held responsible to those constitutions. Thank you for listening. Hope you try to understand what I'm saying. What I believe that everyone should be treated fairly, and so hope you understand what I'm saying. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you agree with what I'm saying, you can leave a comment. If you don't, you can still leave a comment. And I'm here for learning. So if there are some things points that you have that you think I can learn from, also go ahead and share them. It will be my pleasure to go through them and see what I can also learn. Thank you.